Welcome to the Money Vikings podcast, where we conquer financial freedom. Join Greg, Jerry, and Bob as they discuss everything investing and personal finance. The Money Vikings podcast is hosted by three dads who are doing what they can each day to burn down debt and build wealth. Learn the path to true wealth. Their podcast and website, moneyvikings.com, is a treasure trove of ideas. So without further ado, here they are, the Money Vikings.
Are we arriving at the dawn of a new financial renaissance? Or are we in the midst of economic dystopia? Perhaps both. We talk about this and other easy puzzles to solve at the Money Vikings podcast number 56. Hey, Bob. Hey, Jerry. How you doing?
Good. You just blew my mind.
Is it like a Rubik's Cube? Is that...
I don't know. I feel like we might have bitten off a little too much more than we can chew today, trying to determine if we're in the... No, but seriously, this is kind of a shout out to our members, because one of our members brought up when we were having these great discussions in our Discord channel about are we at the cusp of a financial renaissance? And the idea came about with all the tools that are at our disposal now that you guys know 20 years ago was not, certainly our parents' generation and others, they did not have the tools that a lot of investors have now. Yeah. And so that question came up, and I it was like a light bulb moment. And I told that member, I'm like, you know what, we're going to do our next show on whether or not we're in the middle of a financial renaissance. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh wow, that's a really hard thing to answer.
Yeah,
it's but we're going to try.
Yeah. Do you have to be Neo in Matrix Resurrection?
It's coming out in December.
Yeah.
So it is coming in December.
Yes.
No, but
I had to make sure we get it in there.
Listen, shout out to our premium members. If you want to become a premium member, join us in Discord, check out our newsletter, check out all of our exclusive articles and content. You can join with a discount if you type in TMV Listen, all capitals, TMV Listen. But with that, guys, we're going to dive into the news, and there's a lot to unpack. Where should I start? How about I start with Apple? How about I start with Apple?
Yes.
Apple, very nice stock. I've enjoyed being a shareholder of Apple for many years. Apple has a new computer out, and my friend was telling me the other day, who works in IT, about how it has its own, they made their own chip. So there's no Intel inside, anymore. There's not, those Intel guys are not inside Apple anymore. Yeah. But this thing was blowing my mind, and it seems like a game changer. It's faster, of course. It has it creates a longer battery life situation, but people that are using it are saying it's like blazing fast. I mean, it's like knocks your socks off fast. Like
that's what I have. I got one with a new chip.
Oh, well, look at you.
Is it the M1?
Yeah. You're welcome. M1. Yeah, it's the M1 chip.
Nice.
And what's also crazy about it is that it's the new chips that they're putting in their phones as well. Like they have, so they've created their thing, and it's like less expensive than the other versions, and it outperforms it. So it's amazing the capabilities.
It's funny you say no Intel inside. I mean, because back in the day, having an Intel chip inside an Apple computer was sacrilegious.
Right.
Going back in history a few decades, but yeah.
Well, there's no AMD inside, right?
There's
or
no
whatever.
AMD
No NVIDIA. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm writing to Santa as we speak. I'm just like, dear Santa, can you please bring me? Can you please deliver? I've been a good boy for most of the time.
I'm writing to the options gods.
Yeah.
there you go. I should probably do that. Yeah.
Great. What's crazy about it is, so the Mac Mini is their little desktop thing, and the bare bones base version of it is only like 600 some odd bucks, but it's insane how fast it works.
And this podcast is brought to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say Apple isn't even paying us. This is ridiculous. Please call.
I know.
Please
send this to them. Say, hey, can you kick us back?
Yeah, call Tim Cook, please, and have him pay us something.
I'm gonna call him right now. Actually,
there you go. All right. Next up, I mean, so this is crazy. I mean, so this is like the opposite of buying Apple products, but I read too that 40% of households in the US are struggling mightily, and it's no surprise. And this is kind of what our show is going to get into today, so it's a bit of a segue. But with inflation struggles and unwinding from this pandemic. A lot of people are having a hard time, and so that is part of our mission here. We are trying to equip people with the tools to forge their own destiny, right? In a way, and make their own way. Because something is not working. So I read about that, and it's just that you read those statistics, and it's always like, geez, I mean, you just want to like help people in some way. So that was interesting. That was in the news, and we'll get into if we're in a financial renaissance or not. What else in the news, guys? So crypto.
Facebook is
go ahead.
It's up. How about that one? Facebook. It's
Facebook Fay.
Facebook Fay is where it's going.
Oh, God.
No one will know. No one will know.
I can't. Don't get me started on Facebook. I just can't do it, guys.
They're trying to hide, man, because they're being.
I can't do it. Can't do it.
I don't know.
Elon Musk says that artificial intelligence will make jobs pointless. I'm like, bring it on, Musk. Let's do this. And he basically said study art, which I found so funny, because growing up you heard the opposite, right? This is what I'm talking about with this. I know it seems like a stretch, but this all will tie into our show in terms of, are we in the middle of a financial renaissance and technological revolution? Because you would never have heard this kind of stuff when we were growing up. You would hear never study art because you'll never make any money. Jerry, your dad was an artist, and he made money at it.
He was,
but he was an artist.
He was
a musician.
I came from a family of artists. Yeah,
I love it.
So I mean,
grandmother
there you go.
was a potter, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people.
Awesome.
So hey, they were ahead of their time, Jerry. now people are going to study art again.
That's awesome.
I studied art too, so I enjoy it.
Yes, you did.
I did,
and you're very good at it.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I do. I appreciate that. Okay, we got to talk crypto, guys, because it's getting really exciting. So obviously the ETFs are out. I think it's, I'm not the first one to say this, so I'm not claiming this, but I think the ETFs are a game changer, because you're talking about, again, ensconcing this new asset class into the mainstream, and now everybody wants a piece of the action. I know Monkey Pants still hates it. No. Okay. He hates the Bitcoin success. I know that, Papa Buffett hates it, but it's part of the world, I think, now. I don't know what to say. And what I read is gold. So people are not piling in. So inflation's out of control. So people are looking for, and we've been talking about this.
Bitcoin's the new gold, right?
Bitcoin's a new gold. That actually seems to be playing out.
That's the narrative. Yeah, that's what people are saying. I don't know. But it's interesting to watch. I'm really excited about the ETFs just because it enables, if the liquidity's there. I've seen some of the people I follow on Tasty Trade, and they're not paying us either. But they're doing options transactions now that you could never do on Bitcoin. So with BITO, BITO, they're doing Strangles in it, making bets, or iron condors, betting that Bitcoin will stay between like 40 and 90, or just stuff like that you couldn't do before. So
wow,
that's a whole other angle that it is opening up for now, and I'm sure it'll get even easier in the future. But
you blew my mind.
I blew your mind,
Jerry.
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
I love
it. Touche.
Wow. Well, we got to talk about. I mean, so I would just say though, look at the world out there, because I got working the Coinbase account and everything, but there's Cardano, there's Ethereum, there's SHIB coin. I mean, there's Stellar Lumens. I heard people talking about Stellar again. I've held Stellar for years. So they all kind of do different things.
You are the first one that turned me on into Stellar several years ago, and I wish I had held what I had. I think I still have a little, but now I'm getting Stellar. It's XLM, right? That's the symbol for Stellar. I'm getting it as rewards in Coinbase for the credit card.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 4%.
That is so cool. That is so cool. You have the Coinbase credit card?
I've had it for months. I've talked about it.
Oh, see, I'm sorry, Jerry. I do listen to you. I'm sorry. I do listen to Jerry. I do listen to you. I'm sorry.
No, that is an amazing card, and they're not paying us either, but they should be.
Yeah, we've got a lot of sponsors here that should be paying us. We're talking about their stuff.
I got gas today. My electric wouldn't run on electric unless I put gas in the tank. Go figure. And so then I filled up the tank, and now I'm running on electric. But I got 4% back in XLM after filling up the tank on the Chevy Volt.
Man,
isn't that weird?
It's all these little things that add up.
The one crypto that I just started getting into, even though I learned about it a year ago from my mom's hairdresser, was HBAR.
I
Ever heard of
this.
HBAR.
No.
Which one is it?
No.
HBAR. Hedera hash graph or something.
But you had me at your mom's hairdresser. I mean, that was pretty much because that's where I get my financial education and advice.
Because I have some stuff I need to clean up.
I'm just, I just try and tune into what people are doing and what they're talking about. Smart. And so, I heard that about six to 9 months ago. Then I saw Kevin O'Leary mention it. And somebody on TikTok played a clip of Kevin O'Leary talking about cryptos and altcoins. And then he starts to say and then he sort of backs off like it's some big secret, and he slipped up and he wasn't supposed to mention HBAR because it's a super secret thing that
I've never heard of it. And is it publicly traded in Coinbase?
It's like 33 cents right now.
HBAR. Okay.
And then some dude on TikTok mentioned it. So for those 3 reasons, I'm in.
Okay, well, you heard it from Jerry's mom's hairdresser. Why'd you rock out with some HBAR in your IRA?
Google's involved, and it's got some pretty big sponsors. So that may or may not sway someone towards or against it.
Okay. HBAR. I'm taking a note here. HBAR. Let me get this down here. HBAR. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's again. But everybody. Let me just say this, okay? Everybody, keep it cool, okay? Don't go nuts out there. Don't go crazy. Don't take, if you have, if you got your $500,000 401k that you've been building for years, don't throw it into HBAR tomorrow. Don't do it.
Oops.
You're not going to be all right. Not going to be like the next Dogecoin billionaire.
Just put 1,000, okay?
Yeah. Let's be cool. 1,000? Oh, I don't
know.
A tenth of that in there.
Okay, $400.
Whatever.
I don't know.
I gotta say, I am impressed with the whole Shiba Inu thing. Comparing it to Doge, we're gonna go to this altcoin world right now. But comparing it to Doge, I personally feel like they have it together better than Doge did, but maybe not necessarily does if Elon Musk is involved trying to clean it up. I don't know, but they have a burn process going right now.
Is Elon involved with burning SHIB or just Doge?
No. I'm saying Doge with Elon Musk involved, helping fix up the back end.
Yeah, SHIB is connected more to Ethereum, right? To Vitalik.
More right, exactly. And there's a process in place, and more players are coming in to help burn coins. Okay. So they're finding creative ways to do this, and it's helping that ecosystem. So
they're using the Elon's flamethrower to burn all the
shit. Dude. No, they're throwing on a starship and just
it's Mungie. Actually, I think you gave me an image of Mungie pants with a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Actually, Bob, that should be our NFT.
Mungie flamethrower.
Mungie pants with a flamethrower would be a great NFT.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. We're gonna rock out with some new NFTs.
Yeah. Works.
Okay, guys, so inflation continues to be an issue. Little sign of abating. Seems like it's going to take a while for this to unwind. Some say it's transitory from the unwinding of the pandemic, but we'll see. This is what I mean out there. We talked about it a little bit in the newsletter this week. I mean, it's an interesting market out there because there's opportunities, but there are real threats, right? Mm-hmm. And so we really, I think, are juggling both right now. I'm looking at, adding some inflation protected investments. Traditionally, they're things like real estate, commodities, inflation protected bonds, some equities. But
are those tips?
I believe so. Yeah.
Treasury, inflation protected S.
Yes.
I don't know what the S stands for.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yes. So tips.
Securities.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll have to edit that one out.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something I think that we need to be aware. That's just what I mean as one of the threats, right? That we need to kind of adjust for. So the whole like set it and forget it model of a portfolio, I think we need to be a little more active at times, right? And a little more cognizant of what's going on, because if we set it and forget it and then the world shifts beneath our feet and all of a sudden inflation is eating away at your investments, you're really not getting ahead, you know?
Right.
So
totally agree. Yeah, I don't subscribe to the people. Like I have coworkers tell me, "Oh, don't look at your 401k today. You're not going to be happy." It's like, well, I kind of need to, and I want to know what's going on. And if there's changes, macro long-term changes that need to be made, I want to start being aware. Like I said last week, or 2 weeks ago, I do review my portfolios at least 4 times a year and kind of course correct. Nothing major, but like you're saying, I think it's a good way to kind of keep the ship steered in the right direction. If inflation is going up, then yeah, I like commodities, DBC. That's a ETF with a lot of oil in it and some other commodities. DBA, agricultural. That one's not doing as well. You would think because inflation is here that agricultural is going up. It's not as much as we would think. Maybe it's going to pick up in a little bit, but there's a lot of different options out there and alternative investments.
The other thing I think people should also consider, because we're not talking about inflation, but we are talking about the offsetting, right? Is people also need to consider if they're in credit card debt. If you have credit card debt and high interest, and you're not offsetting that interest with what you're putting in the stock market, you need to pay off your credit card debt first, and step back from the glam and dream of making it rich in the stock market, and manage that debt first.
Bob, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't think we talk enough about that stuff on our show. We talk about it in our articles that we're putting on our site for premium members. But I think you're absolutely right. There's that whole other side of, that's why I call wealth building 3-dimensional chess, right? You've really got to pull, this is my opinion, but you really got to pull out all the stops. And it's kind of like what Jerry was talking about in the beginning, where he's smartly using a credit card to get some points back. But if a person has that debt, you got to knock that down. That's negative net worth, right? And then if you're paying, and the thing about it is, typically Americans put a lot of things on credit cards that are depreciating liabilities, right? They're not assets. They're not buying a piece of property or anything like that with it. With credit, they're buying cars, which lose value. They're buying vacations, which, okay, it's gone, but it's a great thing. But then they're, buying clothes, toys, consumer stuff. And
the other thing that's horrible is that you have people that are trying to play the stock market, that are putting their own food on credit cards, or even trying to use their credit card to leverage, get a cash advance to then try to put that in the stock market, and it's hurting them. It's not good. It's not good.
No, I am such, and you guys know this. You guys are the same way. I'm so big into fundamentals, right? You got to get your fundamentals down first before you're going to go do some, awesome, move with some stock. It's all the boring stuff, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. If there's no foundation, the house doesn't stand.
Right.
And it's well said.
So yeah. So
and that's exactly what it is.
Well, this is a good segue into our main topic. So because it is about the current state of things with people, and how is building wealth in America changing, and what tools do we have at our disposal now? Are we at an advantage now? Are we in a bad place? Are we in a good place? Is it somewhere in the middle? I think it's a mixed bag. Are we at the cusp of a financial revolution or renaissance? Let's try to answer this question. Like any big question, I believe first I'd like to go back a little bit in time, and I don't want to go along. This isn't a long lecture here of history, but I truly think it wasn't that long ago. The 2008 financial crisis, I think, changed a lot of things. I can remember the way it was to work in the working world before that and after it, and I believe they are two distinct things. Okay, before there was much more stability. There were stable jobs. There were more perks and benefits. People would really stay longer in a company. You'd kind of get into a company, maybe go up the ranks, stay 10, 20 years, maybe move around a couple times. But that has seems to have completely eroded in a lot of ways. Now in the post-financial crisis world, that was the rise of Uber driving and Lyft driving and the gig economy. People just cobbling together. And I would meet people over the years after that were just really fascinating to me, because I would love to hear their stories about how they were cobbling together. I mean, I met couples that would, they'd have 2 Airbnbs. The wife was a part-time graphic designer and the husband was a bartender. And I'm not making that up. That was a true story, but they weren't like an anomaly. That was like a thing I would hear all the time. Like, oh yeah, we've got a YouTube channel. I drive for Lyft and, she babysits, and so that's kind of the way people are putting things together. The only thing about it, I get it. We're a rugged individualistic society at our core. But, it becomes a bit trickier, I think, to build long-term wealth. You don't have the cushion of the health benefits, the matching 401k, and all that stuff. So the question at hand is, what kind of tools do we have now to build wealth? And, that's kind of at the ethos of our enterprise, right? The Money Vikings. I mean, that's a lot of what we're delivering and trying to deliver is that, like, here are the tools, here's the information, put this together. But I don't know, that's kind of how I see it. Did you guys see it the same way the last few years? I mean, have you heard things like this, or what's been your experience?
See a lot more people trading now, probably more so during and after this pandemic. I think that's changing a lot. So maybe there are fewer people that are doing these kind of gig jobs that we've heard about in the past, but it's really hard to say. There's definitely some big changes going on right now.
Can I tell a story you just reminded me of?
Yeah,
that is
sure.
along the lines? Okay. 3 or 4 years ago, when our grandfather was in the hospital, when he was dealing with cancer and other problems, he told a story, and he was doing okay. He was getting some surgeries done, all kinds of different things. And I remember him distinctly coming home one day from the hospital, and he said, "Oh, I had a really good discussion with it was a male nurse, and I said, "Oh, that's cool." He said, "Oh, he's an investor," and he and our grandfather was kind of blown away by this because the guy just pulled off his phone. And he's like, "Oh yeah, here's my portfolio," and so, a grandfather was like, he's this 90-year-old man, right? And he's talking with this nurse, and the nurse is just going into all his investments, and he's doing day trading, he's doing option, he's doing all kinds of different things. So it reminded me of what you're saying. I mean, there's all these tools that just weren't there, right?
It's easy instant access stuff to it.
So yeah, and Bob, I think the challenge of our time is are we going to be able to manage ourselves? Okay, are we wise enough to learn about investing and managing our portfolios and risk appropriately? Because I feel like I'm a pretty disciplined investor, and I've fallen into the trap of swiping, and just feeling like, oh, I got to swipe, I got to do something. And we know Jerry's favorite trader always said it's the sitting that made the difference.
Right.
Not the swiping.
Not the swiping.
There you go. It was the sitting, not the swiping. And, this goes back to what we always, I still feel, even if someone is a day trader, swing trader, options trader, or any kind of like alternative, I'll call it alternative investing or trader, I would say still read Warren Buffett. I mean, I still think it's important to hear that mindset of, investing for the long term, value. You're buying a business, not a stock. Listen, I like the swing trading, I like the options trade, I like the day trading, but at the same time, I just say have different accounts, and do both. Be an investor as well.
And that's something. I'm glad you mentioned that because it's something that I had brought up to our premium members just, I think it was today actually, about so you're not feeling drawn to dip into the one account over the other, right? You want to have your investing account really set up on another platform. And I think we've even talked about this before in the past, is that have a platform that is meant solely for those things that are the voting machine, where you found something that you believe long term in, or has dividends, whatever it may be. An ETF, this is the long-term portfolio. I can't go grab from this and from that, or I shouldn't say you can't, but my mindset is that I'm not using this to do my day trading and risk it, right? Where then on something where it is like Robinhood or Webull or something that's very user-friendly, if you want to use the an app platform, make that your day trading, but make it a sliver of your portfolio. Like
Bob,
the whole, right?
Could I have a button for you blew my mind? I mean, seriously. No, I literally think what you just said is going to be the most important thing said on this show today.
Yeah.
I really do, because you're absolutely right. I think that, and that what you just said has been a big part of my success, because having that other stuff separate and having friction in between me and the investing stuff has made a lot of difference. And then having that account where you're right, it's a totally different platform, totally separate. And we sometimes don't like saying this, but we call it like fun money. I don't like it, and we shouldn't call it fun money. It's not fun money. If you're investing and trading, you're trying to make money. But just call it your trading account and your investing account. How about that?
Yeah. Yep. Trading
there you go.
Account. Yep. Absolutely.
Trading account, investing account. Keep them separate platforms. I think that is golden.
And that's the way to do it. It's the same way.
Confession time, though. I still do covered calls in my retirement accounts. I hope that's okay. I hope that's okay.
Well,
that's the most conservative option strategy there is out there.
Yeah.
I would say though, Jerry, you though, but I would say for you though, you're a. If I could say some nice things about you, you are a.
Can you whisper them? Just whisper them.
He's a seasoned. I mean, Jerry's a seasoned, disciplined investor, and you are. I mean, you're a disciplined. You're very thoughtful about your trading, about your strategies. You do research. I mean, some of us have to set ourselves up more for success, and that's what it is. I mean, there's that classic saying from Buffett. The stock market is a expensive place to get to know yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to know yourself before you go in. So know thyself. Are you a person? People can answer this question. Are you a person that's prone to like a gambling mentality?
It's funny because one of my teams had an offsite. We went to Del Mar horse race fair, right? For a team event. It was a lot of fun, but you get to bet on horses. And I was so scared that I was going to enjoy it so much. I was very hesitant to even bet like $1 or $2 on that stuff. So it was interesting.
Jerry hobnobbing it with the 1%ers. Oh, Bob and I here. Well, Bob and I went to Coco's, and this guy.
Little Denny's action on Sundays.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, meet me at Chick-fil-A. And well, Jerry's. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, no. That's a really good point. That's very interesting. So you knew yourself.
I know myself. And another thing you can do, it reminds me of what you were saying about different accounts. Some people, Amazon has just made a global business out of being one click, and you just, find what you want, you click it, and you have it delivered by drone in an hour, right? Friction is good in this way.
Yeah, friction, man. Yes, yeah. That's another thing that I think will blow our audience's minds. Okay, that is build friction in where you have to, right? Yeah, because don't let these companies are making it seamless for a reason. We spend more. So, well, we're learning a lot today. And then we also know that for Jerry, it's like Del Mar Fairgrounds to crack cocaine. It's like an instant. Just like the guy is just a monster. So
just hand in hand, man. Just think of hand in hand.
Oh God, it's a family-friendly show. I'm sorry, I went nuts.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're on YouTube now, so like us and subscribe.
Okay, here's the second thing I want to talk about with you guys in terms of, are we in a financial renaissance? So the pandemic clearly changed things, okay?
Yeah.
And it's going to change things. I predict it's going to continue to change things for our daily lives. You think about our lives before the pandemic, it's really changed things. So here's something I read. Google saved $1 billion on workers staying at home over the last year. And so it's $1 billion. I mean, so, that, it just shows that there's potential for companies and there's potential for people. But, I understand there are frontline workers that have to go physically to their job, and they actually are gaining more leverage in terms of bargaining power at the moment. I think that's kind of what's happening right now, is they are saying, listen, we put our lives on the line. This was not easy. And now they're actually bargaining a little more and they're organizing. They really kept the economy up and running while things were kind of rough. But a lot of white collar workers are probably going to spend a lot more time working from home, I would imagine. And that's going to be less time commuting. That's going to be less time preparing for work. That's going to be less gas money. And I think the freed up time is going to allow people to do other things. with that time that's of value. I don't know. I every month, you guys, I'm literally hearing another story of someone working anywhere in the world. I heard the other day, a friend of mine was telling me that they know somebody that works for a big grocery chain in the US and they live in Portugal now. I mean, isn't that amazing? Would you have ever thought we would hear that in our lifetime?
How are they going to help the person carry the oranges to their
Well,
house?
they were in IT.
FedEx Express,
they were
FedEx Express, so they'll bag it up and send it.
Yeah.
Same day delivery.
No, it's one of those things. No, listen, that's what I meant. That's why I separated the two. So frontline workers, I mean, they've got to be at the site, physical work. I mean, you have to be in the Amazon warehouse. You have to be in the grocery store. The only thing I'll say though about that is automation is coming for those jobs.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the term geographic arbitrage? It's where you get a nice high-paying job somewhere and then you move somewhere much cheaper, but keep the initial job if you can without the cost of living adjustment.
Wow.
I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it called that, but I know of the concept. I mean, okay, because a lot of people. I mean, you've heard about this where they're trying to get out of San Francisco in the Bay Area, right? And they're making huge salaries, and they're going to move to Idaho. But
that's exactly it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I in general also, again, are we in this financial renaissance? I really love this idea because I think it also spreads like the financial benefits around the country. You're not so concentrated where it's like, just the area around Palo Alto is where every multimillionaire lives. And then the rest of the country is like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of beautiful country.
It's a fortress looking down on the peons.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's a lot of beautiful country in this country. And I just think that'd be so cool if some of these workers could live in Montana or Idaho or Wyoming. Right. I don't know. People probably have different views on this, but it's a big, beautiful place, our country, and why not move? Why not move international? Wouldn't it be cool if you could live in Canada or the Netherlands or I don't know. Yeah. I think it'd be cool.
Experience the world.
So maybe so that's another reason we might be on the cusp of a financial renaissance. We'll see. Here's my third reason I think we might be on the cusp of a financial renaissance. Crypto. Okay, I add crypto because it is obviously a technology that aims to give people more influence over the financial systems, right? We've had this ivory tower, system, and I'm not saying that's bad. I mean, I'm not a anti-central bank person or anti-Fed. I mean, I do see the mission of all that, and maybe it does add stability. Maybe it serves a purpose. It Keynesian economics where it smooths out the ups and the downs. But at the same time, can't a world coexist where we have, crypto as an asset, as a means of exchange, as a means of investing in value? I don't know. I think it's pretty neat that you could, I remember the old days of, money exchange between countries used to be really challenging. Well, what if someone could kind of globetrot with their Bitcoin and their Ethereum and pay if they go to Turkey or Netherlands or Canada, and I don't know, you're using your crypto assets.
Truly having a global currency.
I don't know.
I
guess why not? I don't see why.
Yeah, right. The days of wiring money and paying these exorbitant fees for conversion, they're coming to an end, I think.
Yeah.
So that's one other idea. So, okay, guys, my fourth one is financial education. And I put this one in here because, number one, it's a core value of Money Vikings. It's our whole thing. We're trying to provide financial education so people can empower themselves. Yeah. But I think it's improving over the last several years. I think there's so many resources that when I go back to when I was in college or in high school, I had none of. I mean, I cannot think. There were a few good books out. Okay, I could go to Barnes & Noble, pick up a few good books, but there just was not the amount of information you can find on publicly traded companies, right. Different analysis of companies, where they're headed, where they're not headed. And frankly, so some of it is junk, okay? And we have to be aware of that because a lot of the internet is junk. But I would say some of it is really valuable, wouldn't you?
I totally agree. I mean, there are a lot of different apps on my phone, and each of them has a very specific purpose, even though a lot of apps do a lot of different functionality. If I want to know how earnings went on a company, I love just going to Robinhood maybe an hour after earnings and just seeing, what they reported, how the stock's doing after hours. If I want to look at the price of Bitcoin. There's other apps that'll do that. So there's so much information. I think the trick is knowing where to go at this point and how to get it quickly and accurately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's the advancements of technology and access to information too. It's being able to, quickly, Google search something from your phone, having the apps, right, that are helping people get that little extra bit of information that they would have to go sifting and searching for very quickly. It's stuff with patents. You have apps that you can search patents or get notified if a new patent was awarded to somebody.
That's wild.
Right? If Facebook or Apple or Google patented something, maybe you got an inside scoop on something they're doing, and then you can get on the stock early and be ahead of it. It's all these things. So it is the acceleration of technology, and then how we are using it, and then as investors, but also, even our health and well-being, even as individuals, getting discounts on things, traveling, our diets, our meditations, easily accessing that information from our handheld device now. We can very quickly get that stuff. So, technology,
tools, man.
Technology is a great tool and is really changing the things we do. Absolutely.
To add to what you guys are saying, I can go on to Kathy's Arc and see all of this world-class analysis of up-and-coming companies. I could not have done that a few years ago. I would not have been able to see into the building. I wouldn't even know where the building was, where all that was happening. It's amazing. So the next thing I wanted to mention quickly with you guys is the FIRE movement. So it's financial independence, retire early. And whether we subscribe to it fully or not, I just think that it's very inspiring. And I think it holds a lot of valuable lessons for everyone that wants to, benefit from a financial renaissance, because you read about these stories and you realize you actually have some choices to make, and you don't have to sit in a cubicle for 40 years and then, get the pension at the end. You could, if you like it, but I'm just saying, Neo in the Matrix, like Matrix 4, he didn't like it. It's coming out in December, in theaters. But anyway, my point is it's just very inspiring. And I think it adds to the point that people have more choices now and can kind of design their life. Not everybody, I understand there's a lot of people struggling. Okay. But hopefully even those folks can start to build assets and have a say.
The idea that, you just start going through this mental exercise of, well, how long do I want to work? When do I retire? How much am I going to need? What's my financial situation going to look like 10 or 15 years from now? All that stuff, even if you don't actually do FIRE, it gets you thinking about it now. And now's the time to do it before you do retire.
And I think also the FIRE movement stuff, it's people need to look at it as a way of helping to conceptualize those things that they need to really kind of think about if they want to have a stable retirement, and thinking, okay, do I want to work a 9-to-5 job for the rest of my life? And if I don't, okay, these are the things I need to consider. Maybe the extremes, not to some of the extremes that the FIRE movement kind of lays out there, because there are some there.
There's all levels.
All levels, right?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, is like when you are talking about your wealth and your future of finance, nobody has the cornerstone on wealth and investing and how to get there. We need to build that ourselves, and we need to have those ideas and what works for us. And put that together. We have to put our own puzzle together, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bob. And there's so many examples now that are made public that we can replicate. And that just wasn't the case before. No one ever talked about that stuff. You went to college, you got a job, you worked, you started a family. Yeah. And it just was very straightforward. So I don't know. I think that's another reason we may be in the middle of a financial renaissance, as they say. Okay, the other thing I would say, this is the last thing I'm going to mention about a potential financial renaissance. I do believe at the end of the day, and you guys know we talk about this a lot, I believe there's some macro trend opportunities for investors today that are once in a lifetime things. And,
Right.
we've talked about this before, and I don't know clearly what the winners are yet, but, I do think renewable energy, the Tesla type companies, the genomics, the automation, the robotics, the electric vehicle stuff, there are some there's macro trends on these things that are not going to stop. And, it just reminds me, I read an article the other day where Bill Gates was doing an interview, and he said that, renewable energy and clean tech and emerging tech, he said, will literally create dozens of new Teslas over the next few years.
Yeah.
And so, maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. I don't know. But I think there's something to be said about that. There's going to be companies, it's like what you're saying, Bob, with technology, that are going to unlock tremendous value for humanity. And the thing about it is, if you're an investor today, you can be part of that. And, you guys know my go-to is kind of in that ARC world. But that doesn't have to be the only place.
Right.
Space, we've talked about it. We did a whole show on space, William Shatner up there and Bezos throwing ping pong balls around with his brother. It's kind of a crazy time.
Did you watch the SNL I put in the show notes last week?
I did.
Okay,
I loved when Musk came in. Yeah, that was very cool. Please watch that, everyone.
I'll put it in again this week.
Please put that in.
Okay.
So, but at the end of the day, guys, I just think, space, we all know that's a huge investing opportunity. It's not just exciting. So it's number one, it's exciting for humanity. It's very cool. But it's also, if you're an investor today, you're kind of at the cusp of a financial renaissance because you can capture some of that. You can be part of some of that. We can publicly buy these companies.
Yeah.
Cannabis and psychedelics too. Also,
there you go.
Oh yeah, we had some really good conversations about that with our premium members on the bonfire this past week about it. Very insightful stuff. It was really good.
Yeah.
I will say is that we all have an opportunity to take the important time in our day and kind of reflect and try to envision what is going to be relevant in society, in the world, and 10 years from now. What is a problem that needs to be solved for? And a lot of it is around being a good steward to our environment, and cleaning up pollution and whatnot, traveling to space, renewable energy, electronic vehicles, energy storage, like alternative energy sources, like all these things. So it's like you should be investing in that stuff now.
Genomics. Look at the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic.
Yeah.
The pandemic blew open the door that we better have tools to fight disease as a species, because this would have been. I mean, I think this is lost on a lot of modern humans. If we didn't have the tools, this would have been so much worse. And it was bad as it was. It wasn't fun for me. I didn't have a good time with the pandemic. I didn't think they were that cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's just, so this stuff. And here, let me add this just to wrap up this part of it. I am not saying that we have to be some crazy geniuses to invest in this stuff, because I'm not a crazy genius. I know you guys think thought I was. I'm not. My go-to vehicles are simple. They're ARC funds, and again, ARC isn't paying us, but that's me personally. For me personally, I like the message, and I like the different companies, and I follow that closely. I'm not saying that's the only way, but for me, I'm taking 10 to 15% of my portfolio, and I'm distributing it on a regular basis, more money, into those ARC funds. And by doing that, I'm capturing a piece of automation. I'm capturing a piece of space. I'm capturing a piece of renewable energy and EVs. I'm capturing a piece of genomics. I don't need to go become a geneticist and understand what the next big, cancer breakthrough is going to be. I find it fascinating, but I don't have that knowledge at my fingertips, But as investors, there are vehicles out there that are actively doing that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I don't know. So guys, I think today we pulled it off. I think we answered the question that yes, we are at the cusp at the end of 2021 of a financial renaissance.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Yeah.
I think you answered it.
So let's be
we're
optimistic.
starting the movement. We're gonna start the movement as soon as this goes out.
Okay.
People start listening. It's the movement starting. We started.
This is it. We started the Money Vikings financial renaissance. It
Hashtag
doesn't mean
financial renaissance.
yes. It doesn't mean this is going to be a straight path up. We all know that. There's going to be there's going to be bumps in the road. There always are in the world we live in.
Right.
But I think there's more upswings and more upward momentum and trends than there are bumps in the road. And I think we can get past the bumps in the road.
Yeah. It's having that sense of community of people where you can collectively talk through these bumps, right? I think that's having the voices of reason and the kind of guidance and advice and the ideas that really make you see that, okay, there's a rough patch or something bad happened, but it's going to be okay. There's a way to recover from this.
I would say join Money Vikings Premium, TMV Listen, and join the Discord group and talk with everybody, and let's add these ideas together and stress test them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, stress test the ideas together.
Yep.
Well, guys, anything else to add for next week? I think we answered the question today and answered the mail, and I'm going to do a mic drop on that one. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. No, I say every time, I know I had a hiatus for the past couple of weeks, but I'm starting to leave my stuff for the premium members and make sure I'm letting them know what I'm doing next week. And
you're in the arena, Bob, every day.
I know, man. I am every day. I'm doing the bonfire, man.
Fighting a good fight. Jerry, how about you?
So we've got a really busy earnings week next week. I think 30% of the S&P 500 is reporting. So depending on your take of where we are, we're at all-time highs. You can make some predictions on your side whether you think the market's going to go up or down. But I mean, there's definitely some potential for volatility with all of these earnings. You got the highlights include
Facebook, Microsoft, Google, AMD, 3M, Boeing, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Teladoc, eBay, crude oil inventories on Wednesday, Chevron, AbbVie. So
I mean, there's just a ton.
AbbVie. I love AbbVie and eBay. You named a couple I love.
I don't know if I mentioned Apple. They're in there too. A company you might have heard of. So Amazon, Starbucks. Got some initial jobless claims, some pending home sales. So just keep an eye if you own any of these stocks, which I'm sure many of our listeners have. These are household names. Just keep an eye on them. And if you don't, I'll be looking for, Strangles and iron condors and high volatility trades. And there's one that you mentioned, Greg, that I'm actually kind of excited about. I'm looking at maybe entering a covered call in AT&T because it got beat up. It's past earnings. We did miss the dividend, but we'll get it on the next round.
Yes.
And so I may enter into a long AT&T position and sell a call against it and just see how things go.
7.5% yield.
Yes.
Not too shabby.
Eye-watering, as you like to call it.
Eye-watering, that's right. And they still have a core business. I mean,
they
come on.
They still do.
Even though they're going to sell Batman. I'm sad about it. They're going to sell Batman, but someone's going to own Batman. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll hear you in Discord. And thank you so much to our listeners. Thank you so much for listening. Please share our podcast with your friends and family. And hope you all enjoy and happy investing and trading. Take care, everybody.
We're on YouTube now, so like us and subscribe too.
Thank you so much.
Check it out. Cheers.
Cheers.